My Lord, this debate takes us into new ethical territory with complex medical, legal, and emotional implications. Rational discussion is made more difficult by a polarization of attitudes and opinions. I saw something of this about 12 months ago when I attended a meeting of the All-Parliamentary Committee on Assisted Dying. I raised some concerns and was made to feel that there was something wrong with my thinking if I couldn't immediately see the open and shut case for changing the existing law. I'm also too aware of the opposite arguments couched in religious terms that life is a gift of God and we should never, ever even think of curtailing it. I served for some years as a member of the BMA Medical Ethics Committee and am well aware of major changes in society and bewildering advances in science and medicine that require us to constantly look anew at previously accepted views and attitudes. Sikhs do accept that life is a gift of God to be cherished and preserved wherever possible. But we also are required to bear in mind the important Sikh teaching of compassion, dignity, and care for the suffering. These two considerations are not necessarily incompatible. I am, however, unhappy about a narrow focusing on individual autonomy to justify attitudes that clearly affect others. And we've seen some of this today. Today, we constantly hear the argument that we're all individuals and that it's our happiness and needs that are all important to the exclusion of our responsibility to others. My lords, I believe that this over-focusing on self, on me and my, is responsible for many of the ills in society today. For example, we're all aware that religious teachings suggest that marriage is a committed partnership for mutual care and support and for ensuring that children grow up as responsible adults. What I believe to be a short-sighted, contemporary social attitude, on the other hand, encourages us to believe that it's okay to look exclusively at our rights without consideration of the effect on others. This focusing on individual needs rather than on the family as a whole is, I believe, at least partly responsible for the growing rise in dysfunctional families, with children frequently ending up in what we euphemistically call care, or with them mirroring the narrow thinking of parents. A person's decision to end their own life has an effect on friends, relatives, and importantly, on the message it can give to wider society on the trivializing of life. We all have wider responsibilities in all we do. My lords, let's pull these threads together in a rational and compassionate decision-making to arrive at the way forward. 1, we should always respect the gift of life and question the concept of autonomy. 2, there are times when those in ill health feel that life is not really worth living, but within a short time often feel that it's not really that bad. It's worse for those who find themselves with severe disabilities. But as the Paralympics showed, that despite such disabilities, it's often possible to live a meaningful life. Relatives and carers sometimes find looking after someone onerous and can inadvertently make their feelings known to those they're caring for, making them feel an unnecessary burden. And sadly, there are others who may have more mercenary motives. A seemingly hopeless situation today may not always be so. Huge strides are being made in combating previously incurable diseases, as well as in palliative care. In summary, my lords, while we should always be on our guard against the notion of individual autonomy trivializing life. We do need to recognize that from an individual perspective, life can become pretty intolerable, and there's an argument for helping to end it in strictly controlled circumstances. The danger is that if we go down this path, it could itself be a slippery slope to trivializing life and altering the very ethos on which medical care is provided. My lords, I feel on balance we should leave the law as it is.